Tourist Visits is back in Bruges, as many cruisers get to be often, because it's one of those ports you get back to over and over again. So we're going to do something different. This time, we're going to take an evening out. And why? Because we're actually on the Cunard ship this time, the Queen Mary, but a number of the routes do this, where they bring us in the night before, and you get to spend the evening in Bruges.
Yeah, so summer's over, the kids are back at school.
One of the negatives about visiting Bruges in the evening at the end of the season is that many things, like the Historium, the Dahli Museum, are closed. But don't worry, we'll see them tomorrow. That's later on in the video. Tonight, we're going out.
So we've stopped for a beer, we're in Cambrina's, and it's a fantastic bar, and all these tables are different. They're all made by hand, and they all represent a different brewery. They're stunning. So this is just off the Market Square.
Almost a bit more spice, the brown one with a touch of caramel, then the Blanche is a wheat beer, and then the Delirium is a fruit beer. Cherries, but like red fruit, but mostly cherries.
Which is the one with the caramel in?
The house beer.
This one?
Yeah.
We've sailed into Bruges 3 times in 2024. For those of you going in, here's our guide.
Zeebrugge is a gateway port to Bruges, so you have to catch the shuttle bus to Blankenberg and then get the train to Bruges, or you could go on an organised tour. The shuttle bus will bring you into Blankenberg. If you want to go into Bruges, the station is just under the Mercure Hotel, just across the road.
There are 2 ticket machines and the desk is often open, but the 2-for-1 deal is over.
Thank you very much. If you want to explore Blankenberg, the road to the beach is straight down that way. And right opposite the station is the tourist office. The train for Bruges leaves once an hour, so you may find you've got 10 or 20 minutes to have a look at Blankenberg before you go. The trains leave every hour.
The same train goes to Ghent, but that takes about an hour.
The journey to Bruges takes 12 minutes, and there's a tourist information office where you could get a map of the city. If you stay on the train for half an hour, you can go to Ghent, and if you stay on for an hour and a half, you can go to Brussels. So we're just going to stroll across the park towards the cathedral.
There's very little at the station, in fact almost nothing. So on the way back, if you're early, I'd stay in a bar just a few minutes away from the station. If you travel independently by train, you have the option of doing the Canal Tour or a horse and carriage ride. Both will explain Bruges to you. Now we turned right at the first road and then right when we saw the arch, but either way will get you into town. If you carry on straight, you'll go through the park, but that is the long way round.
But this way seemed quicker and really charming, and we've come across this amazing statue of Pegasus, Zeus and Prometheus.
There is a Canal Tour shop just along, €15 in 2024. The ride is 30 minutes long.
The queues are much longer in the morning. Bruges is well known for its little cobbled streets. It's a very pretty place to visit. We're in the Market Square, which featured heavily in the film In Bruges, and I'm just sampling the chocolate, which I can tell you is fantastic. The square is surrounded by beautiful buildings, including the Gothic Town Hall. The Market Square has always been a centre of the town where people gather for political events, festivals, and every Wednesday there is an outdoor market here. The statue in the centre of the square depicts Jan Breudel and Peter de Koninck, who led the 1302 successful revolt against the French. The most prominent part of the square is the 250-foot Belfry. And if you've got the energy and can walk up the 366 winding steps, you'll have an amazing view of the city.
Still to come is the Timescope. Yes, a Timescope. The Friets Museum. a painting which is 104 square metres in size in a church that nobody visits. And the canal boat tour. Oh, and chocolate. Lots of chocolate. But let's try and go up
366 steps to the top of the Belfry. Let's see if we can do it. The bells were called Carillions, and they were noted for their wonderful music that they spread across the city. This one was made by Dummery and was completed in 1748. As it goes round, it plays a tune. This is the largest brass drum in existence. It's a musical instrument, and the music is changed every 2 years. It's a massive tourist attraction here.
in Bruges. They do joke about their rain as much as we do, so you might like to take an umbrella with you, just in case.
Right next to the Belfry is the Dahli Museum.
The beers tend to range from between 5% and 9%, so although they seem small measures, do not worry. If you're looking for the free walking tours where you just give a tip, they meet in this square and have a red and white umbrella. There are normally 2 during the day and 1 in the evening at 8 o'clock.
To Bruges in the Middle Ages. Welcome to Historium.
You get a 3D experience of the history of Bruges, going back to the Middle Ages, and upstairs you get 3 beers for €12.
Most of the walking tours give you a little radio receiver, so you might like to carry your own headphones.
This is the Church of the Spilled Blood, and the upper chapel contains a phial which is said to contain some drops of Christ's blood. This is the Basilica of the Holy Blood. This is Jan van Eyck Square, and he was a famous painter who lived nearby, and this is his statue. Behind me is a customs house, and once upon a time this area was connected to the sea, and the merchants used to come up here to pay the duty on their goods. And over there is a white machine which is a Timescope, and if you look in it and turn 360 degrees, it takes you back to that time and shows you exactly what it was like back then. Just down from Jan van Eyck Square is the Belgium Chip Museum, where they tell you all about Belgium chips. So the Belgians invented the Friets. Now the story goes that they used to fish for little fish in the Maas River, and one year it was frozen over. So instead they used potatoes, and that's how Friets were born, and they became even more popular. The Bruges Royal Municipal Theatre is over 150 years old, and sometimes tours are available. I know Belgium's known for lace and chocolate, but look at these incredible handmade shoes with matching belts, and they're not a fortune, they're just amazing works of art. Stunning, isn't it? Not only are the shoes very artistic, look at the handbags and purses. This is a find at St Anna's Church, and the statue you can see above me is of St Anna, who was grandmother to Jesus, Mary's mother. And another one inside. Let's go and look. This is St Anna's Church, who was the patroness of the poor people, and St Anna was the grandmother of Jesus, and this statue is St Anna and Mary and Jesus. And all the paintings here have been given and restored by the rich people in the community for the poor people.
Yes, because there was no money.
It's 104 square meters. It's amazing. The Last Judgment was originally painted in 1683 and was renovated in 2014. Right next to the Church of Our Lady, across the bridge over the river, are some interesting statues of the 4 horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Ici à droite, on a un plan de la ville en portail.
Hello.
Hello. Doesn't matter which side you sit as you go down and come back. But stay seated because there are some low bridges, some dating back to the 16th century made of stone, and they are going nowhere. The canal on the right has connection with Ghent, 30 kilometres. Houses on the yellow houses are gifts from rich to the poor. This view here. So the statue is the painter Jan van Eyck, and the building is the old Burgers Lodge from the 15th century. The houses are built in typical Flemish style with the step gables. This is the old Court of Justice from 1520.
Hier voor ons hebben we prachtig renovated wooden gables. Typical for the...
There are beautifully renovated gables, typical of the Middle Ages. Each time you come up from under a bridge, a new site is revealed.
Onze, ça c'est l'église Notre-Dame. Behind the trees, that is the tower of the Church of Our.
In front of us is the Church of Our Lady, and inside that church is the statue of the Madonna and Child by Michelangelo. Bruges is the photographer's dream, and everywhere you look is a fantastic photo opportunity. Stunning views. The building was a hospital, but now it's a museum for Flemish painters. It currently houses the works of Han Malik. This medieval building was built in 1188. The building on the right is where the Benedictine sisters now live.
Hier voor ons hebben we de sluizen en het sluizenhuis.
In front of us is the locks and the lock house, and behind the lock house is the Lake of Love. Our weather's not great today, but it's still beautiful. Imagine how it looks in sunshine. On the right is a brewery, and we knew that because we could smell it, and it brews a beer that's about 6% alcohol. So we're just on the boat trip. It takes 30 minutes and it costs €8, and it's well worth it. I think it's almost as pretty as Venice. Guess what? Another chocolate shop. And over the road, another chocolate shop. Handmade in Bruges. And how much is a slab of this chocolate?
It's in weight.
Every other shop is a chocolate shop and you can't resist. Chocolate, chocolate everywhere. And not a drop to eat. Well, there is also the odd cake, if you have the time. But the real tools are chocolate, spanners, hammers, wrench, nuts, scissors, padlocks, keys, cogs, pliers, houses, bosoms. Does anyone walk through Bruges without buying chocolate? They're chocolate waffles on a stick. Heaven. And where there's chocolate, there's happiness. This was my favourite choc shop, and where I met Gino, whose family have been in chocolate for years, craftsman. Not just any ordinary chocolate. This shop says you can't buy happiness, but you can buy chocolate, and that's kind of the same thing. And in here are chocolate shoes, chocolate animals, chocolate jelly, chocolate everything. And this is Gino, and he owns the shop. Tell us about your shop, Gino.
We have plenty of chocolates. We have raspberry, we have spicy ones, hot chocolate with chili pepper. We have poppy seed in the chocolates, lavendel, violet flavor, caramels, mint, coffee flavors, some liquors, cognac, champagne.
Can I try a chili one?
Sure you can.
Delicious. Spicy. These are special presents, so hopefully you're doing Bruges last, on the way home. Otherwise, you'll be tempted to eat the presents. Chocolates and Happiness is just down the road from the Belfry. It's definitely worth a visit. Tell Gino Doris sent you. So apart from the chocolate and the chips and the beer and the lace and the shoes, there are many other sides to Bruges. You can even go swimming in the river. There are lots of organised trips if you don't feel comfortable risking the train, but really it's very easy and we had a fantastic visit.
Bruges can also be on many Christmas cruises where you see the Christmas market. Remember, just search Doris Visits plus the name of the port you wish to see. And if you get the chance and want to read a book, Cruise Ship Heist, please review the book for me wherever you purchase it. It's only 99p on the Kindle, and it's free if you want to listen to the audiobook on this YouTube channel. So the Belgians invented the Friets. Now the story goes that they used to fish for little fish in the Maas River, and one year it was frozen over. So instead they used potatoes, and that's how Friets were born, and they became even more popular.